Hello everyone, it's SpursReady96 here, and welcome to the 12th episode of the FIFA 20 Borussia Mönchengladbach career mode. We begin today's episode with Bundesliga action here at the WWK Arena, where Borussia Mönchengladbach will be facing FC Augsburg. If you haven't checked out the last episode, I advise you to do so, where we had a very productive episode, no doubt. We swept aside Scottish side Rangers in the UEFA Europa League round 32 stage, and then we got a critical home victory against TSG Hoffenheim. As you can see from this statistic, Lars Stindl is the best player with the most assists. He has got 9 assists so far in the league, and as you can see from the table there's FC Augsburg in 12th position, level on points with FC Köln. And if they win, they could get possibly into the top 10. But Borussia Mönchengladbach are in the top 4. That is their current position. They are 4th with 46 points. Only goal difference is keeping them in the final Champions League spot above Red Bull Leipzig. And with VfL Wolfsburg also breathing down our necks, it just gets more and more pressure starts to rise in I'm sure both sets of camps, not just Wolfsburg and Red Bull Leipzig, Mönchengladbach, but also Hoffenheim as well. Even though we did manage to squeak a narrow 1-0 victory against them, they're still very much in the fight for the Champions League. There is FC Augsburg's lineup. Sami Khedira there is in the midfield, who came from Juventus, and Graziano Pelle has returned to Europe following his stint in China. They're going for a 4-4-2 formation, very attacking indeed on this rainy night at the WWK Arena. For Mönchengladbach, the reserve team does come in. I think I thought it was best we give the first team a much needed rest after their stints in Europe, and of course that very tough fixture at home against TSG Hoffenheim. And of course, with the best player who provides the most assists in the league, no doubt this would give us a competitive edge. But the first half wasn't very good really from both sets of teams, really. Closer than I expected. FC Augsburg put up not much of a fight despite their attacking formation, and it was very difficult to break them down. They had a very good defence, and not good from a performance point of view. And half-time at the WWK Arena, it's 0-0 between Augsburg and Mönchengladbach. On to the second half highlights, the 53rd minute. Mönchengladbach have the ball as Lars Stindl gave it away narrowly, but Mbolo's got it back to Stindl. Tried to strike it, and Augsburg managed to cover it, but they've given it away. And here's Stindl from the great pass into Miska. Stindl wrestling the player and takes a strike. What a goal from Lars Stindl. He may be the best player in the league to provide goals, but he scored a goal of his own. A thunderbolt. And Borussia Mönchengladbach take a very important lead at the WWK Arena. Look at that, wrestling the ball from the Augsburg players. And of course, we actually gave the ball away originally, but Tomiskas, the left back, managed to get the ball back, passed it to Lars Stindl, and he did the rest. And Mönchengladbach take a very significant lead, which could lead us to our second consecutive Bundesliga victory. Lars Stindl, he's got 7 goals in the Bundesliga, so he's doing well on the goals front as well as the assist front. And it's FC Augsburg 0, Borussia Mönchengladbach 1, coming up to 60 minutes. 77th minute, Augsburg have a corner. He managed to deal with it so far. And Pelle's got a chance, and he's taken it. Graziano Pelle, the former Southampton player, strikes against Borussia Mönchengladbach, and Augsburg have their equaliser. That's a much needed point for their aspirations of the top 10. And that is a blow for Mönchengladbach in the top 4 race. We tried to clear the corner, but they managed to get the ball back. And Graziano Pelle was there, despite, look at it. I don't know what Patrick Herrmann was doing. Clearly wasn't marking his man, neither were the players. Pelle in the box and in space. Brilliant volley from him. And Graziano Pelle's got 9 goals in the Bundesliga. He's been firing the goals for FC Augsburg, and that is a setback for Borussia Mönchengladbach. And it's now 1-1 coming up to 80 minutes. And there goes the full-time whistle. Mönchengladbach were unable to get a second goal to claim the 3 points. Mönchengladbach have dropped points in the top 4 race again, lacking a bit of consistency. 1 minute we thrash Köln and beat Leipzig. Next minute we lose to Dusseldorf. We beat Hoffenheim, and now we've drawn to Augsburg. It's a point. It's certainly better than a defeat, but I was expecting the 3 points really. especially with Lars Stindl's form at the moment. But full time at the WWK Arena, it's FC Augsburg 1, Borussia Mönchengladbach 1. But now we return to our home at Borussia Park on a lovely sunny day, and it is a massive match, as Borussia Mönchengladbach will face the other Borussia team, Borussia Dortmund. Now, Borussia Dortmund are in a kind of a bit of an odd situation. They have the second best attack and the second best defence in the league, but at the moment they are quite a few points behind Bayern Munich, and are I think 3 to 4 points behind second place Bayer Leverkusen, but are also quite a few points clear of Mönchengladbach, Red Bull Leipzig, the top 4 battle. So they're kind of no man's land at the moment, sat in a solid third place in the Bundesliga. But it's important for Mönchengladbach, because if we can get a victory, not only will it, of course, boost our hopes of getting into remaining in the top 4, but we could maybe possibly drag Borussia Dortmund into this fight for Champions League places, and maybe, of course, end Borussia Dortmund's title hopes. I mean, mathematically it's still possible, but to me, Dortmund have been sat in third place most of the season, and despite very good stats like the best away, the best attack, the second best attack and defence in the league, they've just kind of, just been in no man's land really. So, but no doubt they have a very, very good squad, and of course they are continuing. They are. I think they're still in the Champions League still, so they've got that to fight for. But there's Mönchengladbach's lineup. The first team does indeed return for this huge clash. It is second versus fourth place. Mönchengladbach have 47 points, and they are still in the top 4 for now. But look at Dortmund's lineup. They've got Roman Bürki in goal for defence. Marquinhos has come from Paris Saint-Germain. Witsel and Delaney's in the midfield. You've got Rafa, Götze and Jadon Sancho. Marco Reus is leading the attack, and on the bench you've got Guerrero, Sassouma Dembele, who has returned to Dortmund following a stint at Barcelona. And there goes the half-time whistle. It was a close game on paper, and that was replicated on the pitch. Very close to choose between the two sides. Not many chances were created, as you can see. No goals or attempts from the number 9 there of Andre Silva, despite his very hot form in Europe. For half-time at Borussia Park, it's Borussia Mönchengladbach 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. On to the second half, the 72nd minute, and there's a free kick here. It's a foul from Bisbiani on one of the Dortmund players. I think it was Witsel or Delaney, and Marco Reus maybe. It's a yellow card for Bisbiani, and that means if the foul just outside the box, Marco Reus can have a crack from 22 yards. Delaney was going to take the strike, but Reus does. Reus takes the strike, and that's a magnificent free kick. And Borussia Dortmund take the lead at the Borussia Park. The Foles are behind, and maybe Dortmund's title hopes could take a slight boost. But for Mönchengladbach, it is a significant blow in the top 4 race. We've held on and hold on. We've held on in the second half. Dortmund have actually been the better side, to be fair. But what a clumsy mistake from Bisbiani. A costly foul leads to a fantastic free kick from the man, their captain, Marco Reus. 16 goals in the Bundesliga for Marco Reus, and I'm sure there'll be many more to come. But that is a huge blow for Mönchengladbach on our home turf. Delaney already making the sub is coming off, and half-time, it's 1-0 on 74th minutes. But in the last few seconds of the match, Dortmund have the ball. And they've crossed it in, and Sancho's in the box, and it's deflected in. And that wraps up the 3 points for Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Mönchengladbach. The fans are in disarray. The fans cannot believe it. Neither can the Dortmund players. They've wrapped up a massive victory in both the team's aspirations. It was deflected off Elverdai, I think it was. Here it comes off his chest. I think it will be an own goal. And that just wraps up the miserable day that Borussia Mönchengladbach have had. An own goal from Nico Elverdai. And Borussia Dortmund are heading for victory, whilst Mönchengladbach are heading for a very, very costly defeat. It is 2-0 in the added time of the second half. And there goes the full-time whistle. Borussia Dortmund have the 3 points. A costly mistake from Bisbiani allowed Dortmund to take the lead through a fantastic free kick from Marco Reus. Jadon Sancho's deflected strike, which was actually classified as an own goal in the end, wrapped up the points. And that is a massive blow, not for the players' confidence, but for the team's aspirations of the Champions League. And Dortmund are, well, they're 3 points away from the scrap of the top 4 battle. And it's full-time Borussia Park. It's Borussia Mönchengladbach 0, Borussia Dortmund 2. And after that, we have to turn our attention immediately to the UEFA Europa League Round 16 first stage, where we're facing another Italian team in our European adventure. We were against AS Roma in the group stage. Now we're up against the 5-time European Cup winners AC Milan at Borussia Park. As you can see, round of 16 stage, we've got the likes of Chelsea against Sevilla, Wolfsburg versus Roma, Wolves versus Lazio, and Borussia Dortmund. They're not in the Champions League, they are in the Europa League as well. Both teams ready to do battle here at Borussia Park in the first leg of the round of 16 stage. If Borussia Mönchengladbach's battle in the top 4 ends in failure in the Bundesliga, that means the UEFA Europa League is now the utmost, well, could be the utmost importance, and probably still is, very close behind the Bundesliga situation at the moment, because if we don't get in the top 4, we have to win the Europa League to get into the Champions League for next season. The first team does indeed return. It's important they pick themselves off the floor and get going. Of course, the previous time we were in European competition against Rangers, it was rather a stroll in the park as we won 8-2 on aggregate. It was a closer run in the second leg at Borussia Park, where it was a 2-1 victory. But there's AC Milan, a much tougher test the players will expect in this match. As you can see, they're going for a 4-4-2 formation with Piatek and Rebic leading the attack. And there's Bonventura, Kesse, Romangoli as well in the back, and of course their inferior goalkeeper Donnarumma. On to the 3rd minute, Mönchengladbach dispossess AC Milan. Thorgan Hazard cuts back, he's got the pace and he's got the ball, and Mönchengladbach steam in front with 5 minutes gone on the clock. What a start to the round of 16 for Borussia Mönchengladbach. They tore AS Roma apart in the Europa League. Could they be about to do the same against AC Milan? Thorgan Hazard got the ball, absolutely charged into the box and completed it with a fantastic strike. And Mönchengladbach, they struggled to score in the first half of the previous 2 games. It's taken them, 5 minutes for Thorgan Hazard to score his 3rd Europa League goal of the season, and AC Milan are in trouble already. It's Borussia Mönchengladbach 1, AC Milan 0. What's the 11th minute? Mönchengladbach have dispossessed him again. Starting play is Andre Silva. Great little pass there to find Christoph Kramer. What an unbelievable start. Christoph Kramer makes it 2-0, coming up to 13 minutes. What a start for Borussia Mönchengladbach. It's a disastrous start for AC Milan. The 5-time European champions are getting destroyed in the first opening few minutes of this round of 16 crash. And Christoph Kramer scores for the 2nd consecutive Europa League knockout stage. He scored a goal against Rangers, and he's now scored against AC Milan. And Mönchengladbach's hopes of getting through to the quarter-finals are increasing by the minute here. It's Borussia Mönchengladbach 2, AC Milan 0. Incredible start. 24th minute, Mönchengladbach are starting to run riot here. And Bisbiani's crossed it in. Oh, it's another goal. It's a Sonny plays on the score sheet now. Brilliant volley from a brilliant cross from Bisbiani. It's 3-0 in under 30 minutes. Mönchengladbach are running riot at Borussia Park. Mönchengladbach are reigning goals in the UEFA Europa League. Scored 5 against Istanbul Basaksehir, 5 against Roma, 4 away at Rangers, and they could be heading to a similar scoreline here at Borussia Park. AC Milan's hopes are going down the drain, and a brilliant volley from Asani play. Doesn't score many European goals as much as his compatriot Andre Silva. And Asani play registers his 4th goal of the UEFA Europa League, and what a scoreline this is. I certainly wasn't expecting this. 3-0 for Mönchengladbach. 44th minute, coming up to half-time. Mönchengladbach have dispossessed him again. Andre Silva's got the ball now, and he's put it in as well. It's 4-0 in the first half. AC Milan have been crushed in the first leg, and that could be good night to AC Milan's hopes of getting through to the quarter-finals. Andre Silva, who tore Rangers apart, has now got on the score sheet against AC Milan. He scored 5 goals against Rangers. He's now scored 1 against AC Milan. How many goals could he score in this leg? How many goals could Mönchengladbach score in this leg? It's unbelievable attacking display in the UEFA Europa League from the Folds. And would you believe this? Andre Silva has now racked up 12 goals in the UEFA Europa League, and it's Borussia Mönchengladbach 4, AC Milan 0, and there goes the half-time whistle. I'm sure the players and the fans wanted the first half to go on forever. Mönchengladbach have been in a completely different class, and they have given an emphatic beating to the 5-time European champions AC Milan, with their players like Rebic and Piatek nowhere near at the races. A 4-0 demolition in the first half means it's Borussia Mönchengladbach 4, AC Milan 0. And there goes the second half highlights. AC Milan managed to control it, a bit more better organised in defence. To be fair, we turned it down a bit in the second half, just trying to get to the end. I think a 4-0 first leg win is certainly one I wasn't expecting, but a fantastic performance from the players, and that surely means we are halfway, and surely we've made it into the quarter-finals, and full time in the first leg. It's Borussia Mönchengladbach 4, AC Milan 0. Incredible. But let's take a look at the Bundesliga table then. Bayern Munich are still sitting pretty at the top with 69 points, 22 wins, 3 draws, 1 defeat, 68 goals scored, 11 goals conceded, the best attack and defence in the league. Bayer Leverkusen is second with 63 points, 20 wins, 3 draws, 2 defeats, 53 goals scored, 18 conceded. They have a game in hand. So do Borussia Dortmund, who is third with 58 points, 18 wins, 4 draws, 3 defeats, 53 goals scored. So they're tying for the second best attack in the league, but have 12 goals conceded for second best defence in the league. Red Bull Leipzig now jump up to 4th place with 52 points, 16 wins, 4 draws, 6 defeats, 48 goals scored, 26 conceded. Borussia Mönchengladbach are down to 5th with 47 points, 14 wins, 5 draws, 6 defeats, 47 goals scored, 23 conceded. We have a game in hand, but we will only cut the gap to 2 points, which means we will still be in the 5th position. VfL Wolfsburg now jump up to 6th position with 45 points, 14 wins, 3 draws, 8 defeats, 46 goals scored, 22 conceded. TSG Hoffenheim fall to 7th. They have also 45 points, scoring 35 goals, conceding 27. Hertha Berlin, just about in the race of the top 4 at the moment. They're sitting 8th still with 43 points, 13 wins, 4 draws, 9 defeats, 46 goals scored, and 35 conceded. So, yeah, it's not looking good for the top 4 now, I think. Red Bull Leipzig, they need a bit of a miracle, really, to get into the top 4, really. 9th is Werder Bremen with 37 points. FC Köln is now 10th with 38 points. Eintracht Frankfurt is 11th with 28 points. Fortuna Düsseldorf is 12th with the same amount of points as Frankfurt. FC Augsburg is 13th with 27 points. FSV Mainz is 14th with 21 points, conceding 40 goals in the process. 15th is FC Nuremberg with 18 points, 5 wins, 3 draws, 17 defeats, 22 goals scored, 55 conceded. Hannover 96 is in the relegation playoff with 15 points, having played 1 game more than Nuremberg. They have 4 wins, 3 draws, 19 defeats, 22 goals scored, 55 conceded. Schalke still in big trouble. They still sit 17th in the relegation zone with 14 points. They have a game in hand over Hannover 96, which is a nice crumb for comfort for them. They have 3 wins, 5 draws, 17 defeats, 20 goals scored and 56 conceded. VfB Stuttgart still stuck at the bottom with 10 points, 2 wins, 4 draws, 20 defeats, 16 goals scored and 64 conceded. The worst attack and defence in the league for VfB Stuttgart. And they've played 1 game more than FC Schalke. On to the preview for the next episode, and we begin with a difficult away match actually against Eintracht Frankfurt in the Bundesliga. They may not be having the best of seasons at the moment, but it would be a tough match against last season's UEFA Europa League semi-finalists. Then speaking of the UEFA Europa League, we'll commence the round of 16 second leg at the San Siro against AC Milan, and pretty confident, and we will get through to the quarter-finals. But then we have a huge home match once again, this time against Bayer Leverkusen, Bayern Munich's only realistic title contender in my opinion. And if we don't beat Bayer Leverkusen, our top 4 hopes will be in serious doubt. So I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching, everyone. Take a look at the next episode. It's sure to be a cracker. Take care.